The Browns have rarely been known for stability, but Shedeur Sanders is starting to change that. When Rich Eisen watched Shedeur's Cleveland press conference, what stood out wasn't just the answers, it was the energy shift. Eisen highlights how, in just a few minutes, Shedeur exuded the confidence and clarity this team has lacked for years. While others in the building waver, Shedeur speaks with purpose, turning press events into leadership moments. In a town still scarred by quarterback drama, that kind of presence doesn't go unnoticed. The impact is already echoing beyond the media room. Eisen believes Shedeur's poise under pressure is signaling a new chapter for franchise, one where professionalism and focus replace chaos and excuses.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
The fans see it, the players feel it, and the league is starting to pay attention. If Cleveland embraces a change Shedeur represents, this might be more than just a promising start. It could be the beginning of a complete culture. When Rich Eisen reacts to a rookie quarterback's media moments like they just changed the course of a franchise, it's not casual commentary. It's a signal that something real is happening. And with Shedeur Sanders, Eisen didn't mince words. What he saw from Shedeur in Cleveland wasn't just impressive. It was poised, calculated, and more than anything, legitimately different. Because in a league built on noise, Shedeur Sanders showed up and silenced the room, not by ducking questions, but by owning them. And not with fake humility or canned responses, but with confidence and control that made people stop and ask, how is this guy a rookie? It wasn't just that he answered tough questions without stumbling. It was how he flipped potentially explosive moments into calm, reasoned statements, holding the spotlight without letting it burn him. Eisen called it what it was, next-level poise. Not something you expect from a 21-year-old stepping into one of the NFL's most chaotic franchises. And let's not act like that chaos isn't part of the story here. This is the Cleveland Browns we're talking about. The same Browns who cycled through quarterback after quarterback, front office after front office, direction after direction. Dysfunction has been their brand for years. So when Shedeur sat down in front of the Cleveland media and refused to play into the usual narrative, it wasn't just refreshing, it was disruptive. He didn't lean into blame. He didn't get defensive. He didn't indulge the media's attempts to stir controversy over coaching tensions or subtle jabs about internal struggles. Instead, he steered. He maintained clarity. He made it clear he was there to lead, not to participate in finger-pointing or legacy cleansing. That control? It's the kind of thing that elevates a player from rookie to potential face of the franchise. Eisen didn't need stats or tape to know what he was seeing. He saw a young quarterback do something far more difficult than read a defense. He read the room. He anticipated the narrative traps. He controlled the tempo. And by doing that, Shedeur didn't just change how people see him. He changed how people are talking about the Browns. Because let's be honest, Cleveland isn't used to positive buzz without a disclaimer. There's always been a yeah, but a talented player surrounded by dysfunction. A good run undone by bad coaching. Promise followed by regression. But with Shedeur, something's different. There's no, yeah, but there's just that guy's ready. And that's Eisen's entire point. He wasn't just praising Shedeur for being mature. He was pointing out the gap between Shedeur's readiness and the Browns. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. While Shedeur is handling his business like a professional, the organization still seems unsure of itself. Coaching decisions remain shaky. Internal friction hasn't gone away. And a hesitation to fully trust Shedeur, despite everything he's shown, is becoming louder with every day he continues to outpace the team's expectations. It's a mismatch, not of talent, but of urgency. You've got a young quarterback who's already displaying the leadership and communication skills of a seasoned veteran. And then you've got a franchise that's still wondering whether to lean into it or stay guarded. And Eisen's message was crystal clear. That mismatch can't last. Because this is the NFL, perception drives pressure. Pressure forces decisions. And when your rookie quarterback is getting this kind of national praise, not for a throw, not for a win, but for the way he commands a room, you can't afford to sit on your hands. Leadership like this doesn't show up often. When it does, you don't manage it, you build around it. That's what Eisen was signaling to Cleveland. Act now. Don't let this become another case of the Browns wasting potential while they figure themselves out. Shedeur has done everything you could ask of a rookie. He's handled scrutiny, redirected drama, and given the franchise a level of credibility they haven't had in. And it's not just the media taking notice. Fans see it. Teammates feel it. The league is watching. When Shedeur speaks, it lands. Not just because of what he says, but because of how he says it. Measured, intentional, and focused. He's not trying to be liked. He's not playing politics. He's simply doing what leaders do. Holding his ground, defusing conflict, and staying aligned with his purpose. That's why Eisen's reaction wasn't about hype. It was about value. Shedeur's value is already exceeding what you normally expect from a rookie, and that value is exposing the Browns' usual flaws. Because now, every questionable coaching call or front office misstep looks even worse next to a quarterback who's already got it together. The media doesn't give Cleveland this kind of credit often, and when they do, it comes with an expiration date. Right now, the narrative is shifting in the Browns' favor, not because of what they built, but because of who Shedeur is. So the pressure is on the franchise, not to hype him, not to protect him, but to keep up with Shedeur. Sanders is leading through clarity, not chaos, through confidence, not theatrics, through strategy, not ego. And as long as the Browns stay hesitant, the gap between their dysfunction and his readiness will only grow. And Eisen's reaction was more than commentary. It was a warning. Don't fumble this. Don't let organizational doubt undo what could be a transformational moment. Because this isn't just about Shedeur succeeding. It's about whether Cleveland is capable of letting him. If they step up, align with him, and give him the support he clearly deserves, this could be the start of something massive. But if they don't, if they continue to second-guess, delay, and defer, then this turns into another sad chapter for a franchise that should know better by now, and the league will notice either way. So if you've been watching Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland and thinking, this feels different, you're not imagining it. It is different, because this time, the leadership isn't coming from the top. It's starting with the quarterback. Now it's up to the Browns to follow his lead or watch this moment slip away like they've done too many times before. If you've got something to say about Shedeur's impact, drop your thoughts in the comments. Like this if you're ready to see real change in Cleveland. Share it with someone who still doesn't understand why this matters. And hit subscribe, because the spotlight on Shedeur Sanders isn't going anywhere, and neither are we. Let's be honest. How often do we say the words culture change and Cleveland Browns in the same breath without it sounding like wishful thinking? Not often. Because this is a franchise that's become known for trying to reinvent itself every season without ever fixing what's broken at the core. A new quarterback here, a new coach there, maybe a headline-grabbing signing. But the results stay the same. And over time, that creates fatigue, not just for fans, but for the league, the media, and even the players. But now, enter Shedeur Sanders. And suddenly, the tone is different. It's not about false hope. It's not about hype. It's about substance. Because Shedeur isn't selling a dream. He's walking in and setting a standard. Quietly. Consistently. And for a team as historically unstable as the Browns, that kind of grounded leadership is exactly what they've never had. That's why Rich Eisen's reaction was so important. Because Eisen doesn't jump on trends. He doesn't get carried away by preseason narratives or media puff pieces. He's seen too many so-called saviors flame out. But what he saw in Shedeur's Cleveland media moments wasn't hype, it was command. And that's not something you can. Shedeur sat in front of a press corps that has watched generations of quarterbacks melt under pressure. He answered questions designed to test his maturity, poke at team dynamics, and bait him into making headlines. He didn't just stay calm. He owned the moment. No deflection. No drama. Just deliberate, composed responses that said, I know exactly who I am, and I know what this franchise needs. Eisen called out, Shedeur isn't just media ready. He's NFL ready. And that's a distinction that matters. Because in this league, being good at football is only half the battle. The other half? Navigating the media machine, controlling narratives, maintaining trust with teammates, and keeping focus through all the noise. And let's be real, the noise in Cleveland is always louder than most places. That's what makes Shedeur's approach so striking. He's not feeding the machine. He's slowing it down, reframing it, leading through restraint. And maybe that's what makes the contrast so uncomfortable. Because while Shedeur looks and sounds like the steady voice of the future, the Browns' coaching staff and front office still seems stuck in a mode of cautious indecision. Eisen didn't say it in so many words, but you could feel the message underneath it. Shedeur is already acting like a franchise QB, and the franchise still hasn't fully caught up. And that's the problem. Because you can't have a quarterback setting the tone while the organization drags its feet. You can't have a player redefining the image of your team while your internal decision-making keeps reflecting the same old confusion. That disconnect is dangerous. And if Cleveland doesn't close the gap quickly, it won't matter how talented Shedeur is. It'll unravel. Because leadership can only carry you so far if the structure underneath it is unstable. But here's the part that Eisen and so many viewers are realizing. Shedeur is forcing the Browns to change, whether they're ready or not. With every media appearance, he's shifting the perception. With every thoughtful answer, he's making it harder for the front office to delay making a real commitment. He's not demanding trust. He's earning it, and doing it in a way that leaves no excuse for half measures. That's why the national conversation is starting to move. Shedeur's presence is giving Cleveland relevance again, not in a gimmicky, look who we drafted kind of way, but in a serious, this guy might actually reshape the entire identity of the team kind of. And when the media starts shifting its tone about the Browns, you better believe the pressure inside the building shifts too. Now, every coaching decision will be scrutinized under the lens of, are you building around Shedeur, or are you still hedging your bets? Every offensive adjustment, every leak to the media, every roster move will be judged against one key question. Is this team aligning with the leadership it already has? Because that's the thing. Shedeur is not potential anymore. He's present, right now. And if Cleveland waits too long to get behind him fully, they'll miss the rarest thing in football. A player who not only has the tools, but knows how to lead from day one. And it's not just the media who sees it. The locker room isn't dumb. Veterans can tell when someone's faking leadership. They've seen it 100 times. Young players trying too hard sound like the guy before they've earned it. But Shedeur didn't come in loud. He came in measured, purposeful, credible. That earns respect faster than any rah-rah speech ever could. And it creates momentum, internal and external. You can already see it in how fans are talking. The energy's different, not because of a win-loss record, but because of a feeling that maybe, finally, the Browns have someone who actually gets it, who isn't shaken by Cleveland's baggage, who can carry the weight without flinching. That kind of presence shifts everything. The tone of press conferences, the vibe in practice, the temperature of the fan base. Eisen saw it. He felt it. And his reaction was as much a challenge to the Browns as it was praise for Shedeur. Because if the Browns don't capitalize on this, if they keep playing the let's wait and see game, they won't just lose games. They'll lose a quarterback who's already proven more ready than they are. And in today's NFL, players with Shedeur's poise don't stick around if they're not back properly. The league is watching. Other teams are watching. The narrative has shifted, but it hasn't settled. If Cleveland fumbles this, the perception won't be Shedeur wasn't ready. It'll be Cleveland did it again. And no one's going to have, not when the answer was right in front of them. Not when a young leader walked into a mess and started cleaning it up without complaining, without finger pointing, without needing to be told how. That's the moment the Browns are in right now. They can either recognize what they have and build around it, or let it slip through their fingers while clinging to old habits. And let's be clear, the excuses are gone. The learning curve, flattened. The wait-and-see period, over. The future is already sitting at the podium, handling chaos with clarity, and giving this franchise a new story to tell. Whether the Browns are brave enough to follow that story is the only question. You can feel the tension, right? There's a storm quietly brewing in Cleveland, not the chaotic, headline-chasing kind of Browns are used to, but a different kind, a controlled one, centered around a 21-year-old quarterback who hasn't played a single down in a Browns uniform, but has already done something rare. He's made the media listen, made the fans lean in, and made the team pause. Because that's what Shedeur Sanders has done. He hasn't just given good answers. He's altered the tone of the conversation. He's recalibrated the expectations, not by being flashy, but by being solid. And in Cleveland, where everything has always felt temporary or unstable, solid is revolutionary. Rich Eisen didn't just acknowledge Shedeur's media moments because they were impressive. He spotlighted them because they were disruptive in the best way. This was your typical rookie trying to play PR chess and survive a press conference. This was someone who understood the stakes, understood the room, and most importantly, understood the weight of perception. That's a dangerous kind of intelligence for defenses, for media skeptics, and yes, for a franchise still figuring itself out. And that's the elephant in the room. Because while Shedeur is projecting maturity, stability, and control, the Cleveland Browns are still, the Cleveland Browns. They haven't yet earned the benefit of the doubt. Their track record is littered with second-guessing, power struggles, coaching turnover, and quarterback churn. They are not an organization known for trusting young talent early or building around leadership before it's been fully proven on the field. But what Eisen's commentary nailed is that this is different. This isn't a kid with raw talent who needs to be coddled. This is a leader. Now, today. And when leadership like that presents itself in such a rare, articulate, composed form, you don't ease into it. You build around it. You don't try to manage Shedeur Sanders. You support him. You adapt to him. Because the Browns may have drafted a quarterback, but they accidentally landed something bigger. A culture catalyst. And the reality is, Cleveland has never had a player who can reset the culture just by showing up and refusing to engage in chaos. Usually, quarterbacks either get swallowed up by the dysfunction or worse, start contributing to it. But Shedeur's media moments were textbook examples of how to walk the tightrope between authenticity and professionalism. He didn't pretend everything was perfect. He didn't overcompensate. He simply stayed composed, firm, respectful, unbothered. And that rattles people, especially in a city that's used to seeing quarterbacks flinch before they've even faced a real snap. The most telling part? It's not just fans or talking heads reacting. The team is watching. Locker rooms are built on credibility. You can't fake it and you can't force it. And when you walk into a room full of grown men, some veterans, some skeptical, most battle-scarred from the usual Cleveland drama, and you don't flinch, that's how you earn a team. Shedeur didn't need a game-winning drive to make people believe. He just needed a mic and a room full of media trained to sniff out weakness. And what did he show? Presence, poise, awareness, accountability. No victimhood, no sugarcoating, no grandstanding. That's what Eisen saw. That's what everyone saw. And that's exactly why the pressure is now squarely on the Cleveland Browns organization to rise to the moment. Because the old playbook of slow-rolling progress, letting players earn it while leadership stays non-committal, that doesn't apply here. Not with Shedeur. Not anymore. Every day that the coaching staff hesitates to fully embrace him, every time they talk around him instead of through him, it shows. And it sends a message that they might not be ready for the kind of leadership they've finally been given. Eisen didn't say it out loud, but the subtext was clear. What are you waiting for? What more does Shedeur Sanders need to show you? How many more examples of calm under pressure, control under scrutiny, and wisdom beyond his years does he need to put on display before the team stops treating him like a promising rookie and starts treating him like the franchise quarterback he already is? Because let's be real, if the Browns can't recognize this opportunity for what it is, there are 31 other teams that the league is watching. The narrative is shifting. And if Cleveland doesn't act fast, the story won't be about Shedeur's rise. It'll be about the Browns' failure to rise with him. That's the haunting part of all this. Because for the first time in years, Cleveland has someone who can not only handle the pressure, they have someone who's changing it, reframing what it means to be the face of a franchise, leading with his mind before ever needing to lead with his arm. You don't wait for that to blossom. You build around it. You stop treating the rookie quarterback like a project. You start treating him like a centerpiece. And yes, it's early, but that's exactly why it matters now. Because every moment of hesitation by the coaching staff, every mixed message from leadership, every delay in aligning with his energy, it all adds up. It creates doubt, not in Shedeur, but in the team's ability to recognize what's in front of them. And if that doubt lingers, It doesn't take long for belief to erode. We've seen this story before, not just in Cleveland, but across the league. A player with all the tools and all the right instincts ends up buried beneath a franchise's inability to let go of old habits. But Shedeur isn't just another talented player. He's a test. He's a test of Cleveland's growth. A test of whether this organization has finally learned how to handle a real leader. A test of whether they can move from reaction to intention. And Rich Eisen, with all the subtlety of someone who's watched too many almost and what ifs come and go, issued a warning wrapped in praise. Don't miss this. Don't let this moment pass while waiting for Shedeur to prove what he's already demonstrated. Don't waste the kind of presence that doesn't just elevate a team, it redefines it. So here we are. The Browns have the leader. The Browns have momentum. Now all that's left is the decision. Are they going to keep playing the slow game, hiding behind systems and wait and see evaluations? Or are they finally going to lean in, drop the hesitation, and trust the one person who's shown more clearly than anyone else in that building that he's ready to lead? That's the question Cleveland has to answer fast. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't going to wait forever. He already knows who he is. The rest of the team better figure out soon. If you're seeing the same shift we are, leave a comment. Let us know how you think the Browns should respond. Hit that like if you're tired of watching leadership go unnoticed. Share this with someone still clinging to the he's just a rookie narrative. And subscribe, because this isn't just about football anymore. It's about whether Cleveland is finally ready to grow up.